Welcome to It Is What It Is, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Shamari. First off, very first off, happy birthday, Kenny. This one is for you, buddy. Well, it's for you, and I was going to do it anyway. Oh, not necessarily this episode, but I was going to do an episode from this show. So, this show that Kenny wanted me to do a review on, and I didn't know it was his birthday today, but we're going to act like I did. Give me the kudos. And he wanted me to review a show from the show called The Real Murders of Orange County. It is on the Oxygen channel. It's newish. It's from this year. So there's only 8 episodes so far. I haven't seen the newest one, so don't spoil it. But this one is Season 1, Episode 6, A Tale of Two Brothers. And I've watched it, done all that, and I'm going to refer to the Los Angeles Times article written in 1994 on November 15th. So, yeah, we'll go through that whole thing. If you guys hear weird noises, it is the puppy. He is a boxer named Mac. He's the cutest freaking thing you've ever seen in your life. Don't worry, I'll make a video. Anyway, so he's new to podcasting. So if he makes any noises, it's just because he doesn't know. Yeah, he's so cute. I can go on forever about him, but I won't. So we will get to the episode. So they say that they charged a young man on Monday in Fullerton. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to assume it's how it looks. Fullerton. It says Fullerton prosecutors on Monday charged a young gas station mechanic with the triple counts of murder, including a special circumstance that could mean the death sentence. He could get a death sentence for allegedly killing 3 members of his family. The bodies were found in a burning car. Now, I'll tell you who he is. He is Edward Charles III. Oh, by the way, they rich. I knew that mechanic thing would throw you off. Now he's rich. We'll talk about it. Anywho, it says Edward Charles III, who remains in custody without bail, briefly went in front of the courts and he was asked to enter a plea. He did not. He said he was not guilty, obviously. So, I'm gonna skim the article truly. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Now, what he does is he has dinner with his family. Okay? And he has a brother who's absolutely amazing. He's an opera singer, very talented. Everybody loves him and adores him because and what I love, and I know 1994 is not forever ago, but the pictures and everything is just, it's amazing. I love black and white, pretty old-fashioned pictures. Anyway, so his brother is 19. So he's the younger brother because he himself is only 22 when this all occurs. And his brother's 19-year-old Danny Charles. And like I said, he's amazing at walking and breathing. And everybody loves him. And his dad, Edward Charles, obviously, was 55. He is an aircraft engineer. And his mom has one of the coolest names ever, Dolores. Charles, she was 47. She was self-employed. And like, they are just the prettiest family ever. Well, they live with Grandpa as well. Grandpa lives there. So they have dinner, and the next day, they all wake up. Well, Grandpa wakes up. It's kind of messed up that I said they. But Grandpa wakes up and no one's home. Like, he's home by himself, which is odd. And I mean, it doesn't look like anything crazy happened. The bed was made incorrectly. So that's another thing that they noticed, that the grandpa noticed as well. So, oh, he snores. The night that they have the dinner, right, and this happened on November 6th, and so of 1994. So that night, one of his neighbors calls the 911, and she's like, it sounds like there's somebody in a trunk screaming for help. You guys should come check it out. And the 911 operator really doesn't sound like she's like, I don't know, the lady on the phone doesn't make it sound like it's that important, so she doesn't take it that importantly. So it's like, I don't know. It just, like, the way the phone call sounded, it just doesn't sound like it was that important. But by the time the cops get there, said vehicle, poof, it's gone. And another thing, this happened in like a Richie Rich community. So, I mean, I guess I can explain my next question. But like, you're telling me some rich person sat in their house and called the police. Well, it's not a question. It really happened. But she calls and she's like, so definitely someone in a trunk screaming for help when you can come. And that's it. Like, you don't go to the car. You don't confirm. And how the hell does this rich lady know what it sounds like to be screaming from a trunk? Questions I never got answered. Well, anyway, so, and then the cops are called and told that there's a car on fire. So they go to this car that's on fire. And when they investigate, obviously, there are bodies. Yep. Bodies in it. Naked bodies. The naked bodies of his dad and his mom. And they were stacked on top of each other in the back seat like wood. Well, that's the description everybody keeps using, so I'll just keep rolling with it. Like you would stack wood. They were just bloop, bloop. And his brother was in the fetal position in the trunk. And they assume, now that they know that like everybody's dead, that the person they think that they heard, and the houses were a good distance apart, they think it was Danny because of the fact that he was an opera singer and he had a very like boisterous voice. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't even know if that is a word. Anyway, so they say that the brother had been stabbed and put in the trunk. The triple homicide was gruesomely, they said. Mm-mm. And it happened in a community where this just doesn't happen. Like I said, rich people. So they don't know what happened at the beginning. We don't know. Is this a carjacking, a robbery? What happened? And then they go ask the neighbors and everything else. One neighbor didn't even know that Robert existed because Dolores never talked about him, which is weird. They called him Eddie. I guess we should call him Eddie. Eddie or Edward. I don't know. We'll just go with Eddie. Anyway, but he's dating and living with his girlfriend who's banging, who was one of the original Baywatch chicks. And he paid for her boob job. Side note, I want a boob job. Anyway, so he lived with her, Tiffany. That's so cool. And she's really super pretty. Anyway, and her mom, because she's off at college, right, being a smart kid, her mom is like, no, Eddie was here all night long, and then he watched TV with me like a good boy. And so they clear Eddie at the beginning. Eddie. Anyway, they clear him at the beginning. And then they're like, okay, we got to find out what happened, obviously. And so they go to another neighbor, and then it gets fishy, right? Because this other neighbor is like, so check it. I went and got my paper early that morning, and Eddie was outside on the driveway wiping stuff up from behind the car. Eddie himself. Seen him with my eyeballs. He even said that Eddie must have gotten the feeling that he was being watched because he looked at the neighbor's house, but where the neighbor was standing, he doesn't think that he actually saw him. He just thinks that he got the vibe that he was being looked upon. And so it's the neighbor who tells the police. And then also, not just the neighbor, but he calls his karate guy, like leader. What are those? A dojo? Or I don't know. He calls his karate teacher and he confesses to him and says, hey, I killed my family. I would like to tell you about this. And that guy is like, what? I'm busy right now, but we're definitely going to meet up and have this conversation. I'll call you back. He hangs up. He calls the police. He tells the police. There we go. Then Eddie was a mechanic, like I told you at the beginning, and he didn't go to college like everybody else in his family. That's why his family had problems with him, is because he didn't do what they thought was like the way to go. While Danny, on the other hand, the brother, was like all-star. He was going to college. He was an opera singer. Mom and dad went to college. We're from old money. The whole thing. And his tools, Eddie's tools that he used as a mechanic that his family didn't approve of, were engraved with the yin and the yang symbol on each and every one of them. That's important. And a guy that he works with said that Eddie came in and was like acting super shady. He had parked the car with the bodies by his work, and for like a whole day the bodies were just chilling there, and he said it was his girlfriend's mama's car that he was checking the brakes on, but it wasn't. It was like his mom's car or something. To be honest, I don't know if it matters whose car it was. But so then he like tells the police, he's like, nah, wasn't me, whatever. And then he tells the cops, because he goes to jail, he calls the cops back over and he goes, you know what, I changed my mind. So what happened was we had dinner, everything else. I went back over to my mom's house, my parents' house. I saw my grandpa, who's 75 years old. He's an old man. I saw my grandpa drenched in blood. So I cleaned my grandpa up, bathed him, put him back in new PJs, put him back into bed, and said, I got this, Gramps. Grandpa was the only one who really liked Eddie, just for a note. So he says that. So then the cops go to Grandpa and they're like, this is what Eddie said. And Grandpa's like, no shit, because that little piece of shit just called me and asked me to do this, to take the blame for the murders. Horrible. And then some homeless lady is cleaning. Well, she's not clean. Why did I say cleaning? She's dumpster diving, looking for treasures. And she finds, what do you know? A 16-inch crescent wrench in a dumpster. And it has hair and blood and everything else. His dad, I believe, was bludgeoned so hard that a piece of the bone from his head shock and knot him in the brain. Hard. So the DNA, she takes it to the cops, obviously, which obviously she's a nice homeless woman with a conscience. So good on her. They take it, they get it tested. Everybody's DNA is on it, mom, dad, and brother. And so they're like, bro, you going to jail. And he was arrested on November 10th of 1994. And so, I mean, he had like a good couple of days of freedom. And then they find out. You want to know how they find out what happened? I'm going to tell you. So, when this rich boy goes to jail, okay, he is talked with another inmate. And this inmate is like, oh, bro, you got problems? I can help you get your problems taken care of. Someone's going to come see you. So then somebody comes and sees him. This person is like, I can get you somebody to take care of your problems. I got the AIDS. And so I'll do it. I'll go and take care of Grandpa because he wants Grandpa beat up or murdered. He doesn't really give a who. And he's going to share his inheritance with this guy because he thinks in his logical mind that if his grandpa dies, that way shows that he didn't do the murders because this guy was going to stay at the house until he was caught and be like, haha, I did all of them. And I came back to finish the old man. Let the guy out because he's innocent. That was the plan. And he's talking to this guy, right? And the inmate is like, well, buddy, before I tell my guy everything else, you need to write it down so that I can tell my guy. You know, my guy needs to know the story of what happened so everything matches up. This idiot, and like granted, he ain't from the streets, so he don't know, goes and does it and writes it down like it's a damn story. Like, once upon a time, there was a little boy who spent all his money on his girlfriend, bought her new boobs, spent all the money, like $50,000 his parents gave him to like kind of just like hang out in the background and be a disappointment. He spent all that money. And so he wanted to kill his parents and get the inheritance so that he had money forever and property. And so that night after dinner, when his brother goes to leave, he attacks his brother while outside, stabbing him in the back because he's a punk. And then he kills his mom and his dad while his sweet little old grandpa is sleeping in his room, puts them in the car, gives them a quote-unquote Vikings funeral, strangles his mama, so they were all dead before the car gets set on fire. Then we set the car on fire. Then it all gets discovered. Then our hot girlfriend leaves us. and everything else. And then her mom is like, but how did you get out of the house? Turns out he climbed out of the window, saw her brother, believe it's her brother, on the roof putting up Christmas lights because it's almost December. And he's like, hey, give me a ride. He does. He does the deed. He calls him again and he's like, hey, come pick me up. I went and watched a game. So he does. He goes back through the window. Later on, exiting his bedroom, going downstairs, watching TV with the old bird. Boom. Alibi. Mm-hmm. Pretty slick, dude. Pretty slick Rick. And he did it all for the money. And that's just the whole thing. And it's like, well, and he was super, super jealous of his brother. Because, like, he would do something and he was like, well, I want to be a mechanic. And his brother was like, well, I'm going to be a famous opera star. So, F you. And so he was jelly of his brother. And his parents were like, you're a disappointment because you won't go get an education, get a good job, become, like, carry on, the family name, make us proud. And he's like, that's not my cup of tea, but thanks. So, yeah, that is, I think, to be honest, I think rich people are probably shadier and scarier because they don't really know how to, like, commit murder. I don't think they always, like, just think it's like in the movies, like we do this and then we're done with it, or we pay somebody and it's just as easy as, like, ordering a pizza. And they're just so naive, I guess, is, like, the thing. Like, you called and asked your grandpa. Who does that? Not only are you, like, devastating this old man and being like, so I killed your daughter and your grandson and your son-in-law, but you want to say you did it and spend your life in prison because I'm young and I'm hot and my girlfriend's hot, so do me a solid, Gramps. Who does that? And then some criminal in jail is like, write down word for word, step by step, what you did that day, sign it, date it, give it back. And he's like, okay, I like homework. Yep, good assignment. No. Any normal person right then and there would have punched that dude in the face and been like, you ratting ass, checking you right here, right now. No. And especially if someone comes to you and is like, hey, I have AIDS, and so I'm willing to die in jail miserably and take the fall for everything for this money that I'm not going to be able to use except for on commissary, and then die with it in prison, and then it goes nowhere. Like, you know what I mean? Think, bro. Well, think before you killed, obviously, your whole family. You could have simply just gone to your parents and been like, so I'm irresponsible as shit. But I don't know. Or you could have just told your girlfriend, like, girl. And back then, titties were $5,000 or something like that. So he's been a grip. And he could have easily just been like, dude, enjoy them titties on Baywatch because we broke the bank till my parents die. Let's hope and pray. I don't know. Or beat up your brother and be like, pay me, beat him up. I don't know. Or go to your grandpa who likes you and be like, Gramps, I need money. I'm sure he would have helped you. Horrible story though. But go ahead and go watch that. It's a good show. You find out that a lot of stuff happens in them rich places. Lots of stuff happens. Kenny, happy birthday, man. You've been solid from the beginning. So I respect you. Got mad love for you, dude. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. And hopefully your birthday is amazing. And yeah, I have a puppy. It's so cute. But yeah, That doesn't really matter to you guys, does it? And the Real Murders of Orange County is still going for season 1. Comes on every Sunday night time. So yeah, have a good week. You'll hear my voice again. I love you all. Don't forget, subscribe, review my show. If you're going to be rude, just remember you're going to get called out. And I love you as much as you love me. And was there anything else? Not that I can remember. So yeah, have a great week. Bye.